All right, this video, I'm very excited to make this video because I get to talk about the mirror principle and how you are going to be able to use it to literally make reality bend to your will, and how I've been using it and been unconscious of it or been unaware of it, and how I've either used it to create, abundance, and how I've used it to create a bunch of chaos, right? And the reason I really want to talk about this is because it can be scary, but it's also very liberating to understand that the external world that we call reality does not exist to us. It is us experiencing ourselves through reality. And what I mean by this is, many people think they're watching, like, reality is happening to them, not aware that reality is happening from them, right? So when you look into a mirror, you have to be aware and understand that you are seeing what you are reflecting. And the world is the same way. And I've had so many opportunities in my life where I've been able to been aware of this, right? Whereas the friends that I meet, the opportunities that I have, this, that, the other, they all reflect certain parts of me. And reality just is, right? But we don't see reality as it is, we see reality as we are. So I'll notice that if I have this limiting belief, or if I have this type of, like, if I'm being negative or if I'm being pessimistic, I will then, so on and so forth, experience that in my life through a person, through a circumstance, through a thing, right? And I've also noticed in those times in my life where I've been fairly relaxed and I've been like, yo, you know what I mean? Life is working out for me. I'm such a lucky person. I'm this, that, the other, that I will then therefore experience that in the world, right? The convictions that I have. And I really want you to bang this into your fucking head, is that you cannot get what you want. You can only get what you are. And the mirror will never smile before you do. See, too many people, including myself, you know what I mean, put responsibility on the external world, thinking, man, I need to have this, or this needs to be this way, or this needs to be that way in order for me to feel this way, in order for me to be happy, in order for me to be rich, in order for me to be loved, right? And to that, I really want to talk about this quote by Rumi that says, yesterday, Afghan legend, by the way, he says, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself. Now, when I first read this, I thought, in changing the world, this motherfucker was talking about curing cancer, ending world hunger, or stopping wars. Now, though, what I'm understanding and seeing it in a different light, in a different lens, is that the world is just my external experience of myself. So if I want to change the world, which is the experience of reality, I must change the way I see myself. I must change myself. I must shift myself. And then those shifts create shifts in the external world, right? However it may look like. But too many of us, like I said, the mistake that I made, try to change the world before I change myself. I looked in the mirror and I tried to wedge out and carve out the little areas that I did not like. But as soon as I went to another mirror, I saw those things again. Because you cannot escape yourself. Doesn't matter if you go to a mirror in fucking LA. Doesn't matter if you go to a mirror in New York. Doesn't matter if you go to a mirror in Thailand, right? You're always going to see yourself. You're always going to reflect what you are putting out, right? And also there's that saying, oh, life is a movie, life is a movie. But what I want you to understand is that you are not experiencing life as a movie. You are experiencing life as a projection of your beliefs, your subconscious thoughts, your convictions, and all that stuff, which then display a motion picture in which you get to experience yourself. So, and knowing this can be scary, right? Because it's like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? So none of this stuff is real. None of the outside thing is real, this, that, the other. But in understanding this, it's also liberating because you get to create those internal shifts, which then reflect externally. And so what I mean is this, right? If you want to be healthy and you go into the mirror and you see that you're fat, you can't just, try to change what's in the mirror. You must create the shifts internally of yourself, which then reflect onto the mirror of somebody who is healthy, right? And this may take time, this may take whatever, but the instant that you can do so is right now and in this minute. And so what I want to talk about, and what made me really realize this, is understanding, like for me and maybe for you as well, right? Write down, as you're noticing the things that I'm saying, write down the moments in your life where you have experienced yourself through people, through things, through places, through experiences, or through circumstances and events, right? And for example, for me, when I thought about moments or negativity or pessimism and this, that, the other, I then experienced that through an event, a circumstances, a person, a place, or a thing, right? When I experienced when I had limiting beliefs in myself, I then attracted that into my life through people, places, things that confirmed that, right? But on the flip side of that, I've also had abundant beliefs where I'm like, man, I can do anything. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Man, I'm the luckiest person alive. Man, oh my God, I'm so blessed, right? Creating this emotional charge, which then puts it out there into the world, or maybe it's my subconscious mind really seeing it. I'm still becoming aware of all these things, but I then attract things that affirm that. I remember one time, 2021, I was working in between these roles, these internships and stuff, and one of the internships I really did not like. And so I ended up leaving that internship, and I said, you know what, there has to be, like, of course, knowing myself, knowing how, this, that, the other I am, knowing how connected I am, knowing how skilled I am, there has to be a role for me that fits in perfectly with my college schedule, that allows me to have fun and do the things that I enjoy, and it's also very easy and relaxed and easygoing. And once I started to truly believe that and have that conviction within myself, lo and behold, I'm walking in my neighborhood one day, and I bump into somebody that I know from somebody else that I know. I go in there, meet them, follow off of IG, whatever the hell. When I go follow the person on IG, I start to see the place that they work. When I see the place that they work, all of a sudden, it pops up on my page, because I follow them. It pops up on my page that they're hiring. They're hiring an intern for the summer. So I go in, and guess what happens? I get the role. And the role was literally that. At the time, I was interested in videography. I was interested in, marketing, and kind of just having like an easy, chill thing where I can build my skill sets, have fun, and also have like an office studio where I can just be out the house, be to myself, and do all the things that I want to do. And there's also been the opposite of that, where as soon as I graduated, right, I was like, oh man, there's no jobs, there's this, that, yeah, this is tough, this is whatever, because I had lost the opportunity or whatever. I started to hold a set of cards in my hand that I did not want through beliefs. And so I started to believe, there's no opportunities. Maybe I'm underskilled. Maybe I'm not this, that, the other. And so what I then saw was that being reflected. I then saw that was being reflected into the world. There was less jobs. The jobs were always there. I just wasn't seeing the ones that were aligned for me. Or I have to hustle harder than everybody else, right? All these different belief systems that I'm telling myself. And then I had to go in there and live it. I had to suffer. I chose to suffer because that is the beliefs that I put into myself. And on the inverse of that, right, the next summer I said, you know what? Nah, I'm fucking qualified. Like, I'm dialed in. Like, I could get a 6-figure role. Like, it's already in me. Like, I see the experiences that I had. I see how, you know what I mean? Like, qualified I am. And this was one of the things where we think, in order to get a 6-figure role, we need to have worked a 6-figure role. But how do you get that first 6-figure role, right? It's about having it within, which then gets reflected without, through alignment, through all these different things. So I did that in my interview process. I showed up knowing that, hey, I already can like do whatever the fuck it takes. I've done it before, and it's just a matter of doing it in this lens, because it's not about the external situation that makes me, it's who I am that defines myself and what I'm able to get out in and get out of external situations. Lo and behold, guess what happened? I landed a 6-figure role that summer, right? Because it all comes down to belief systems. It all comes down to this, that, the other. The same thing with like my YouTube, for example. I used to think it was hard for me to, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know this, I don't know that, or I don't have the experience, whatever the fuck it was. And so it would take me a long time to make YouTube videos, come up with concepts and stuff like that. And in that time, I did obviously get to learn the different tips and tricks. Meaning, like, if you go through one of the videos and you see the formulas I've used, it's gotten me like 1,000 views. I've done the same thing with my my mom and her channel and a couple other folks from back in the day when I was doing social media consulting. But right now, though, I'm like, wait a minute. Everything that I'm going through, somebody else is probably going through. Everything that I'm saying is of value. because it is of value to me. And if it is of value to me, then it must be of value to somebody else, right? And I start to have that belief system. I start to have that belief system. I have to start to have that belief system. And the things that I was going through and the things that I wanted to talk about and learn and this, that, the other, as they say, if you want to build a personal brand, just talk about what it is that you're doing. And so I decided, hey, you know what? Change my belief. I said, you know what? Everything that I'm actually going through and that I'm actually learning about is actually exciting to me. It is actually of value, right? The books that I'm reading, the this, that, the other. But my in a sense, I was blind to that because I was holding on to limiting beliefs or competing beliefs, right? And it wasn't until I let go of those and I started to where I stopped experiencing those limitations, or maybe I still experience remnants of it, but I start to put in more of positive, of affirming beliefs of who I am and who of lining myself up with the version of myself that is experiencing my desired reality, right? And this is something I want to get into. Normalize your blessings, but appreciate them. And I'll talk about that in a little second and how this all plays in. I'm just giving some context right now, but I promise you, right, we're going to get into how to actually make this practical shift in your life. Now, though, because I have that belief, I can literally knock out 2 videos a day if I truly want to, because I am seeing myself as valuable. I am seeing myself as worthy to listen in, because I am listening into myself. I am listening to my thoughts, my soul, my this, that, the other, and I'm therefore able to share it. But right? If I'm not listening to myself, if I don't see myself in that way, then that means I'm never going to make that video, because I'm always going to be looking into the external world, which is actually something that I was doing for the longest time, from when I started my TikTok page back in the day to then wanting to shift and everything like that to what it is that I truly want to do. But I always gave myself excuses of, oh, well, I don't have this, well, I don't have that, well, I don't have this, that, the other. But now I'm able to realize that it was never about those things that made me who I am. It was who I chose to be in each and every moment and what I'm broadcasting into the world, which determine what I was able to experience and have. So, how do you use this mirror principle for yourself? And I think where we start off here is by understanding the question behind what it is that you are trying to achieve. Right? Are you trying to change your reality? Are you trying to get something? Are you trying to achieve something? And for me, my definition of manifestation, in a sense, is by becoming the version of yourself who normally and with ease lives the life that you desire. That's why I say normalize your blessings, but appreciate them. Appreciate them because you are giving energy and attention to them, but normalize them by becoming the version of yourself who lives them normally. And this is what I mean by, and this is how it all ties into the mirror principle. Because when you become the version of yourself that naturally lives the external life that you desire to live, once you become it, you'll therefore then experience it naturally, right? And let's say it's you want to have a better social life and this, that, the other. Once you start to see yourself as more confident, calm, relaxed, you'll then be able to see that in the world through more friends that appreciate your confidence, your calmness, and your relaxedness, right? Once you start to see yourself as an attractive person, you'll then see the opportunities in reality that were always there, but you just never saw it because your mind had blinders on that, because you chose to identify with a version of yourself that saw yourself as unattractive. Get what I mean? So, life is a mirror. Depending on your goals, depending on what it is, like I said, manifestation, the definition of it for me is by becoming the version of yourself who lives it naturally. So, what we're not doing now, right? The old version of yourself is saying, okay, well, I need to get these things. I need the outside world to look this way before I make the shift. But the true thing is, I must shift into the version of myself who naturally lives the outside world regardless, right? And that's what puts you into this crazy experience. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I'll let you experience it on your own, but it's a crazy feeling of bliss and like, oh, wow, like just dropping the weight off your shoulder. You're going to feel much lighter. You're going to feel like a G. So the question now is not, how do I get it? How do I get this thing externally? It's understanding that reality is a mirror, not a vending machine. So if you want to see, more beauty, more value, more abundance, more love, more meaning, more purpose, you must first unblock it internally. You must broadcast it out into the world through your identity, through the shifts that you have, through your beliefs, your convictions, your thoughts, your perspectives, and this, that, the other, right? And then you must practice it and build that identity up over time. So the question is not anymore, how do I get it? It's always going to be, where am I not being it, right? Where am I not giving it to others? And where am I not allowing myself to receive it? The point that I want to make here as well, before we get into the math of all of this, is to understand that you already have everything that you need within yourself. And that also too, like, you need to have this belief that you literally can do anything that you want to do, like in any moments. And if you can't, it's because you believe that you can't. And I'm not saying this on any woo-woo. I'm saying, like, even on some practical stuff, like, everything is just matter. If you cut your finger off and you cut, let's say, Elon Musk's finger off, it's going to be made of the exact same shit, right? The only difference between this and the other is the consciousness that we choose to put out and that we choose to live by. And you can even experience this within yourself, within the different seasons that you have had in your life, by taking a look at the beliefs, the convictions that you had at the time that were then being projected, right? And even if it was something externally that happened to you, you still chose to allow that to enter into your life, to allow it to shift your beliefs. Now, I don't want to negate, right? A lot of people, things have happened and whatever not, but what I want to say is that those things may have not been your fault, but it is your responsibility. And hey, I've had to accept that, and I think anybody really does. And I think it's a beautiful journey of you being able to learn to accept that and take responsibility, right? And yeah, I don't want this to be like, oh, well, this has happened to me, this, that. Like, I don't want to take responsibility from anybody else. I just want to, like, empower you and show you where you truly, where you truly got it. You feel me? So understand that you are already abundant, that you are already whole, that everything that you need already exists within you. That's why we say you are just experiencing reality, is just you experiencing yourself through the external world. So if you already have abundance and everything like that within you, you just have to let go. Like I said, unblock it internally. What are you holding on to? What is your ego holding on to? What limiting beliefs are you holding on to that is blocking you from seeing your true abundance, your true health, your true wealth, and this, that, the other, right? It could look like, for me, it looked like me not seeing myself as worthy of love because I did not have at the time X, Y, Z, or this, that, the other, or I was unhealthy or this, that, the other. But it wasn't until I chose to let that go and love myself despite where I'm at, where one, I started to get the things that I wanted, and two, also see myself as more lovable and whatnot. So the shifts, the blockages in your life aren't always linear, right? Something within your financial realm of aspect of life could be blocked by the way you see yourself being unlovable in a relationship, or you seeing yourself as a burden, and this, that, the other. So unblock it internally. Then you must discover that within ourselves, right? Discover that abundance within ourselves, discover that love within ourselves, and then you must broadcast it energetically, and then you must practice it practically. So what does the broadcasting look like, right? The broadcasting looks like being awareness, hyper awareness in every moment. What am I putting out into this world? Okay, hold on. This person coming in, triggering me. What is it? What state is it? Or am I allowing myself to be in? Am I being more tense? If I'm being more tense, then the world is just going to continuously, because I'm broadcasting tension, it's just going to give me more things that I see as tension. So take a look at the world kind of as your friend, bro. It's not happening to you, it's happening from you. Because if you're able to shift your perspective into that, you're then able to see, okay, hold on, that's undesirable, but where am I putting that out there? If I feel neglected by somebody that you love, right? It doesn't even have to be like on anything crazy. Maybe it's just like somebody takes a little bit longer to respond to your text and that triggers something into you. Bless that. Be like, whoa, hold on, where am I, not giving attention to myself? Where am I, abandoning myself in that sense, right? And that could look different to everybody, right? For some people, it could be, hey, man, like, I should be eating, higher protein foods. I should be eating, a little bit like cleaner. I should take care of the vessel, right? My body's a temple. And for somebody else, it could look like, man, you know what? Yo, I'm neglecting like myself. Like maybe I should, go out and have like a cheat meal, treat myself to something. This is something that I enjoy. Let me give it to myself in a responsible manner. So it's going to look different to everybody, for everybody. So let's run through different desires and show you how you can do the math within. So, I always start these videos out thinking I'm only going to do like 8 minutes spit game, but then we just get into it. We get into me, we get into to all of it, and I truly feel like being vulnerable and sharing my experiences is because we're all one in a sense, right? And the way I was able to make things hit wasn't by somebody telling me, you got to do this, you got to do this, but it was when they in turn shared experiences that I was able to see myself in. Hence, as within, as without, you only get to experience yourself in reality and then be able to make that shift, make that change. So if I could be an affirmation for somebody else and their affirmations of, hey man, this is where I'm at, but this is where I'm getting to, then boom, that's a fucking blessing. It means we're aligned. It means we're locked in, right? Cool. So let's say attractiveness, right? For me, I really wanted to feel like attractive. It's just a good feeling. I love this feeling. But for a majority of the time, I thought that being attractive was dependent, or being confident was dependent on external things, such as having a nice car, such as having, hot girls, such as having friends that like always hyping you up and this, that, the other. And so I was always waiting for permission from the external world to allow myself to feel magnetic. But let's take a look at this situation right here. What am I doing? I am seeing my goal as outside of myself, and I am projecting and broadcasting into the world that I am not that. So the world will in turn give me more of that to affirm that I am not that, even though that's something that I want, but it's not something that I am. So if I want to feel magnetic, I have to ask myself, where am I ignoring my own beauty, right? Where am I not admiring myself as I truly am? Where am I pretending to be somebody else to get a different result? Where am I waiting for external validation? Where am I waiting for permission, right? Do I truly admire myself? Do I treat myself as someone that is worthy of being adored, worthy of being attractive, right? And so then I have to make those shifts. I say, wait a minute, hold on, fuck, I'm waiting for all this stuff externally, trying to prove for this, that, the other. That just affirms that I don't have. And when it affirms that I don't have, it broadcasts that out energetically, and it keeps playing that fucking cycle. So I had to make the alignment. Started to groom, take care of my beard a little bit, you know what I mean? With love, not obligation, not like, man, I gotta take care of this so I can get that. No, it's, yo, I like the way I look in this. Holy shit, man, I got a beard. I got a beard at like age 19, man. I got this. I'm locked in. I know people that can't even grow beards. Let me take advantage. Let me adore this. Let me take care of it, right? It's just another thing, part of my body that I get to take care of. Let me buy the beard oils. Let me buy the moisturizers. Let me buy, you know what I mean? Groom it. Let me line it up. Let me learn how to clip. Let me learn how to this, that, the other. Let me move my body like somebody that is worth seeing, that is worth being seen, right? I start to see myself. I start to be more aware of my posture. Start to be aware of my breath, my presence. Okay, hold on. What? Why am I all rigidity and raggedy? What is that putting to the world? Is that really how I see myself? Is that really how I want to live? Absolutely not. I want to be on some chill shit, on some fly shit, on some Matthew McConaughey shit, right? And I remember doing this in one of my classrooms, like senior year, senior year of university, first semester, where it was like I started to see the value within myself. And because I started to see the value within myself, we were in this advertising class, and I had already had like a bunch of experience in advertising. Then I started to, hold on, I see my value in this. Hold on, this is something that I'm passionate about. Hold on, this is something that I loved myself into, right? During those like unclear times in my life, especially with COVID and all these different things going on, where I put in the work. So I started to, it wasn't on, yo, let me go prove to people that I know this. It was just like, yo, I got this, I know. So I chilled back, I laid back like this, literally gave out presentations and everything. And on my mother's life, everybody was hooked. Everybody was looking at me like talking about something that I loved. And that was because I understood my own interests. I understood what I saw myself for. I understood and I moved like the version of myself that I intend to be, who lives the reality that I like to live. Now, what I didn't do was say, yo, everybody pay attention to me, everybody, and try to fix the internal world and then feel magnetic. I felt magnetic from the moment I woke up. And that then attracted and showed me that opportunity where I was able to project the magnetism that I had within for myself and experience that into the world. Because you can take the same situation and imagine if I woke up insecure, what that day would look like. You know what I mean? Whew. In those moments, right, I start to compliment myself a little bit more, like I would somebody that I desire, somebody that is magnetic, right? They get compliments. So where am I not complimenting myself? Where am I beating myself down? I could express warmth much more outwardly, right? I was giving out compliments because how I see myself is how I therefore see others, because we are all one. It's all in the same experience. Started to compliment others, right? The same things that I used to criticize other people for, I was not aware that I was actually criticizing myself for that, and in turn broadcasting it out into the world, which then gave me more of that. But once I started to compliment more people, hold more eye contact with people, have more warmth, and just like not being constrictive or like tight, but just being open and freely, I started to realize that in doing so, that's actually how I get to treat myself. And how I treat myself is therefore how I treat others. And how I treat others and how I treat myself creates a broadcast, which then attracts more of that, right? Which attracts more opportunities to do so. That's why literally that semester, bro, my social life skyrocketed. I had experiences that were very, very fun. I had, growth in ways that I couldn't even fucking imagine. Job opportunities with like big brands out of nowhere, off of just like a golf post that I had made on Instagram. I don't even golf, but I just posted one thing. I walked into the store, showed the guy my Instagram. He sends it to the founder, the CEO, and he goes, hire him immediately, right? All because of the magnetism that I felt within myself. Woo! If you want more fun, right? Fun is flow. Flow is trust. Where do you clamp down with tension, control, or fear? Where are you scared? Where do you have these things, right? Where do you deny yourself permission to be free and playful, right? And now, in order to make the alignment to project that out there, do the small things that feel unproductive but are fun and are authentic to you. Laugh a little bit more, right? Stop being in monk mode. Give yourself new micro adventures. Go hit a new cafe. Go hit a new park. Go talk to new people. Hang with people who expand you, not drain you, right? If you broadcast playfulness, life is going to give you more opportunities that feel like play. So funny how the other day I had this, right now in my career and everything like that. Like I said before, in university, I was very like uptight and stressed and need to make it. But then as I started to kind of like, yo, hold on, I actually want a role. If I'm going to be putting in 40 hours a week, and I, had to realize that whatever you want to grow and you're going to have to be consistent with, if I'm going to be working 40 hours a week, whether it's a job, whether it's my own business, whatever, it's got to be something that I enjoy doing. So I need to look within and see what it is that I enjoy. And I started to then realize, all right, like I love the laid back SoCal lifestyle where it's work that feels like play, having a good time, having fun, being by the beach, being in the sun, this, that, the other. And I also love that New York City lifestyle, right? Where you get to go out, dress fly, see dope little coffee shops and this, that, the other. So lo and behold, guess what I started doing? I started to acknowledge that within myself. I started to dress up in that way. I started to trim my beard and everything like that, and like take care of myself. Or before I walk in to someplace, meditate on and be in that version of myself. Lo and behold, I get a call yesterday. And they say, hey, by the way, like, awesome, like, your experience is going to get you the interview, but the hiring manager, what they're really saying is like, yo, we want somebody, like, they want to do a vibe check and an energetic check. Like, they want somebody that is as SoCal and as laid back as it gets. And immediately I say, oh, you want SoCal? I'm actually from there. I was like talking about all the interests and everything like that because I love Southern California, right? California burritos, beach, beautiful people, hit the gym, being in the sun, right? Good food, vibes. And I started to bring that aspect of myself out, and that was only brought out and I only attracted that because I started to see that value within myself. So don't let the world tell you who you need to be, because in doing so, you are either allowing that and you're living based off of other people's energy, or you are projecting that out into the world without you even knowing, right? You're taking on these subconscious beliefs that aren't even yours truly, that you just picked them up from your parents or from whoever the fuck. Bro, I have literally got a call the other day from somebody just gave me a recommendation for a role just because I asked, oh, what really stood out? He's like, dude, honestly, I haven't even checked your resume, but I just know it's going to be a fun time working with you. So understand that, bro, you literally can get roles and get opportunities at least, right? Just based on the parts of yourself that you feel are so authentic and aligned with you that you have been neglecting. And so it's crazy, bro. It's fucking insane. If you want more meaning and fulfillment in your life, right? Meaning appears when you stop outsourcing it and looking for it externally and start living from a place of meaning, right? You don't need a job or your job to go fucking, I don't know, like you don't need to go out there and like end world hunger and this, that, the other for it to be meaning, right? Unless that is what alignment and that is what truth and soul means for you. But let's say that is what like ending world hunger or something like that is like something very meaningful to you, right? For me, it's about empowering individuals, like I said, to be their best selves and live their most authentic and best lives, regardless. You know what I mean? So doesn't mean I need to go start an organization that does that, but it means that I must bring that energy into whatever it is that I do. If I decide to work a marketing role, me being an Afghan individual, me being from a culture that only, doctor, lawyer, engineer, or disappointment, right? Those are the only options. I am then able to, right, see that value within myself and bring that value within whatever it is that I do, even though I've been fairly successful and whatnot, but I'm able to inspire through the work that I do, through the content that I create, through the time and energy and effort that I'll give if somebody calls me asking for advice and this, that, the other, right? Through the example that I'm being for my nephews and whatnot. So meaning isn't something that you get externally, it's something that you bring from within into whatever it is that you do. If you want more meaning and fulfillment, you also got to take a look at yourself. Where do you betray your deeper values for approval or out of fear or out of habits, right? Are you honest about what you actually want to do with your time, or are you allowing and moving unintentionally, right? In order to experience meaning and fulfillment, you must create it and be it and broadcast it and live it, right? And so that's essentially what you can kind of see and take the math here of this and create a life that you want to create by becoming the version of yourself who naturally lives it. And so to finish this point off, like I said earlier in the video, normalize your blessings, but appreciate them. So appreciate the blessings that you have, appreciate everything that you have, because gratitude essentially is an emotion that you have something, that not that you want something, but normalize it by becoming the version of yourself who naturally has those things. So if you're like, man, I want this job at Google, even like though you're qualified, but even putting that energy of like you want, you're pedestalizing it. And when you pedestalize something, you can only be under it, right? And that's the energy, that's what you're broadcasting. You're always going to be broadcasting that's out of reach. But when you say, yo, of course, man, of course I'm worthy of that job at Google. Of course I'm worthy at that job at XYZ company. Of course I'm worthy of having this client. You'll then one day experience it and you'll be like, oh, I can't believe like one day I wanted this thing and like now like it's just so normal. Like it's not even what I want anymore. You know what I mean? It's like that saying, like you get the invitation to the party when you don't want to go to the party. And at an energetic level, it's because when you don't want something, it's because you have it. Doesn't mean it's undesirable or this, that, the other. It's just because you have it, right? If you're in an undesirable reality right now, even that, it's like, why do you have it? It's because you don't want it. And when you don't want it, it signifies that you have it. So the fastest way to get what it is that you quote unquote want out of life is by becoming the version of yourself who does not want it and naturally has it through the ideas, the thoughts, the beliefs, the convictions that they hold within themselves. So understand this principle, life is a mirror, then become the version of yourself that experiences your desires naturally. So as within, as without. You want to live a more magnetic life, look at the magnetism within and bring it out into the world. Don't look for it in the world, bring it out and express it into the world. If you want financial, career growth and stuff like that, take a look at where you have been dimming your light and dimming your values and dimming your skill sets and moving within the confines of reality and start to bring those beliefs out into the world and see how everything unfolds for you out of nowhere. And those experiences have always been there. So yeah, man. And this is honestly something that I've been doing right now with all the, like, in a sense, karma and understanding the law of cause and effect, that the things that I have caused have been brought out into the world. And for me to be able to, like I said, take a look into the value instead of being, oh, woe is me, poor me, I get to say, great, what an opportunity. What an opportunity is that I get to reflect and I get to share this because somebody else might be going through the same thing, because this is what I wish I had answers to back in the day, 3, 2, 4 years ago, right? So I'm able to then reaffirm that whatever is within me is of value because I am teaching it, or not teaching it, but like sharing something of value that I've been able to cultivate based on experiences that I have, which then reaffirms that I am somebody of value, that I have the value within that I am bringing out, and that will then be brought out, and I get to experience that. The more and more I get to broadcast that, Feel me? So that's it for this video. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and bang that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one.